Hello, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. I'm in the Hoyt Arboretum in downtown Portland today, and I want to talk about a plant that I absolutely hate. I loathe this plant so much, and it is a very popular landscape plant that has a real nasty invasive habit, and that is this down here, Vinca, also known as periwinkle. I made a short on it earlier, and I'll probably cut it in here.
I'm hiking in the Hoyt Arboretum today. Gorgeous. Kind of a drizzly day here in Oregon, and I wanted to illustrate a point about one of my least favorite invasive species. So obviously Oregon has a number of problem invasive species in parks, mostly English ivy and Himalayan blackberry, like this here. But I wanted to show you this one, which is sold in garden centers everywhere. This is Vinca, also known as periwinkle. You can see it's everywhere. All of the garden nurseries carry it. Even though it is highly invasive, they carry Vinca major and Vinca minor. Vinca minor is the one that's really a problem. Oh, look at this beautiful trillium. Just spreads and spreads and goes and goes and goes. From one little escapee, it's all the way down this hillside. And it forms a really dense blanket that chokes out native plants. Here's a native fringe cup that will end up getting smothered as it spreads. So just because something is sold at your local garden center, even your garden center that claims to be more responsible, doesn't mean they aren't carrying invasives.
But Vinca is a really common landscaping plant. Folks like it because it's great ground cover, it spreads really quickly, it fills in and forms a carpet, and it is low maintenance. You don't have to mow it, don't have to prune it, don't have to do anything. It just goes and goes and takes over everything. And it has these cute little purple flowers. And so people love it. I hate it. I hate it so much. So it's very, very invasive. It loves to choke out natives. If it gets out into the wild, it just spreads like crazy. This is a very shady location. There's a little bit of sun back behind me, but right here it's very shady. It does great. It'll do great in full sun, great in shade. Once you have it planted, it's very difficult to eradicate all of it. The Hoyt Arboretum is basically stacked in between houses, and I'm sure this escaped from somebody's garden. I'm most likely, because there's a house right behind me on the other side of the camera. There's a house over that way. But let's take a closer look at it.
Okay, let's look for another moment here at invasives. Yeah, I'm in the Hoyt Arboretum, and you can see here one of the big ones, English ivy. So there are actually ivy pull days where you can volunteer to work in groups to pull ivy patches out of the arboretum. You might think this is an invasive, but this is actually native trailing blackberry. It's not the invasive Himalayan one. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, first, more English ivy. Yuck. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is more Vinca minor, periwinkle, sold commonly in garden centers, everywhere, even Portland Nursery. You see why it's so invasive. It just goes and goes and goes. People like it for a ground cover. It forms a thick carpet, and nothing else can grow through it. You can see how little diversity there is right now. Some of the salal trying to get through. Once you plant this, it's very hard to eradicate it, and a little piece will make a whole new patch. So just don't. There's lots of great native choices for controlling the bank. If you need to control erosion, there's lots of great native choices for ground cover as well. Don't use Vinca.
Here you can see why it's such a vigorous spreader. See all those little tiny roots? Grows this way along the ground, putting down roots everywhere. And so when you try and rip it up, it tends to break. It's very hard to get up all of it. Nasty stuff. Thanks for letting me have my moment of absolute loathing for this plant. If you have a plant that is a scourge where you are, that is just an invasive, difficult plant to deal with, especially if it's one that like gardeners use all the time and they should know better, please share it down below in the comments. I'm going to continue my hike and I'll be back soon with a regular video. Thanks.